my fellow Americans. Folks, the people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory, a convincing victory. I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but unify, who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States, and work with all my heart. I sought this office to restore the soul of America. It is real. It's a task, the task of our time.
Have you ever just wished that you were on an island separated from all of what is going on right now? This probably is the most deceptive time in history. And knowing with all certainty that things will get even more deceptive, it really is a troubling feeling. As I watch the United States presidential race and all the activity that led up to this current point that we're in right now, the one thing that any believer that is awake to the world and what is really going on, the one thing that we can clearly see today is that the world is ready to accept the Antichrist. Besides creating the chaos the world needs, there doesn't seem like there is anything else needed to grab the hearts and minds of the world and lead them to the leader they have been preparing the world for. This world is crazy. And the worst part of that fact is that the ones that are crazy feel that they are the most sane, though all they do is act as people under strong mind control, regurgitating information that has been given to them in the most hypnotic way.
LGBTQ rights, Black Lives Matter!
I have other things on my heart that need to be discussed before our time is up and the truth is fully suppressed. But I do not want to ignore the recent events since the election day in the United States. So I want to briefly just give my take on what I see transpiring. And then, if Father allows, I would like to move on from it until things become more defined. Have you ever tried to respond to a question without fully hearing what the person was asking? My wife does it to me all the time. She responds to my first set of words without hearing me completely out. No shade here, babe. It's just an example. Anyways, responding to my first set of words without clearly trying to hear me out does not give her the complete understanding of what I'm trying to fully communicate. And that's how I feel like when discussing this topic. I feel it very plainly easy to see where they are going with all this, though there are obviously a few bumps and turns in the road that they can take. And before I respond to the first thought, I like to get a better picture of what they're actually trying to do and where they're taking the minds of the public. Because the end is very obvious. In order for their new world order to be built, the old world order must be destroyed. So I know that there is no longevity within all of this activity, but that is not what I'm trying to expose. It's all about freeing our minds from their mind control and allowing critical thinking activity to flow. So in order to do that, sometimes people need views away from the mind-controlling media so that they can start to analyze things for themselves. So I will not and cannot give a complete analysis of what they are doing because we are moving in real time and we do not have the complete picture. But what I do want to do is explain where my thinking is at and how I see things, in hopes that maybe it helps others in their analysis. Let's begin. Okay. So what I've said before this election in my other videos, I've said whenever people talk to me about the future, I tell them to talk to me after the election. I've always said this because I believe it will be a contested election. Trump has been alluding to this since the beginning of the election.
This is going to be a fraud like you've never seen.
So what happened? The results on election day were not clear, and it took 4 days to count all the votes. And on Saturday, the national media decided the election. It's important to remember that point. The media decided the United States election.
CNN projects Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States, winning the White House and denying President Trump a second term. We're able to make this projection because CNN projects Biden wins Pennsylvania, the former vice president, in his third run for the highest office, pulling off a rare defeat of a sitting commander-in-chief. With this victory, Kamala Harris is set to become the first woman and the first person of color to be the vice president. Again, CNN projects Joe Biden will become the 46th president of the United States. And
for me, this would have only meant something if Donald Trump conceded and accepted the results. But this is not what happened.
So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop.
Now let me just say this. I did not have a dog in this race. I believe fully that presidents are selected, not elected. So whatever happens with this presidential race was decided long before it actually happened. We are actually just watching a scripted movie being played out in real time. So again, the media decided the election. Then Biden gave a victory speech, and Trump said he does not accept the results. Which means that, like I alluded to in my other videos running up to this point, we are in a contested election. And so people that still want to talk to me about the future, I still have the same answer to them. Talk to me after the election. They just don't recognize why I still say this, because the mind control of the media is extremely one-sided. In the 2016 presidential election between Trump and Hillary Clinton, the media, without any proof, clearly ran with the narrative that Russia interfered with that election. They wouldn't stop talking about it for 4 years. Now, in this election, Donald Trump claims fraud, and all media outlets are calling his claims baseless and unfounded. Like it's not even possible, even though they were claiming it in the last election. What I am getting at is that clearly the media has the ability to control minds, and they are doing just that. So for me, what I am doing is making sure that I am not allowing their mind control to come against me. And that means I must move with a sound mind and turn off the noise. And this time, I am limiting my contact with all those people that are clearly showing an attachment to the system. It doesn't matter what side they are on. This is because I see the media really doing everyone really dirty and leading people off of a cliff. For the people I know personally, I have very clearly tried to explain my views at this time. Try to take time to converse with them about everything going on. And I have many different types of personalities all communicating the same message. That message is that they are going to be attached to the system and follow it wherever it takes them. So for my sanity and to control my flesh, I have had to retreat from my interactions with many of my close family and friends. Now, if they really want to understand and go back and talk about this, I will always be there for them. But now I have to limit the interjections of my opinions when they're not asked for. The evidence of mind control is so strong, it is really upsetting. If you scroll down your social media feed, you will see the same pictures being posted with the same remarks about literally nothing. Things like little girls being able to dream and history being made and blah, blah, blah. You can always see the evidence of mind control when you see different people that have nothing to do with one another saying the same thing, making the same post. Everyone is suffering from extreme cases of brainwashing. Everyone is moving from emotions, hoping for this new change to our country and the world that will never happen. If you listen to all the people that are happy about the election, you do not hear one person happy about an actual political issue.
Biden does what he said he was going to do, which is unify the country.
They're happy because Donald Trump was defeated.
Well, it's not perfect. It's not what I would have hoped to have seen. I think we could have had some new, blood in there. But I think at the end of the day, the idea for me is to get Trump out of the office. And
they are happy about racial issues.
We did because we need equality. We need equality in our school district. We need equality in our city. How we're treated by the police.
Like they feel that they are being represented in government because Kamala Harris is something.
Congratulations to him, and as an African-American woman, I'm excited to see Kamala Harris in the office. It gives women of color, minorities, hope, like we can dream big. So I am excited to see that. So
she's Jamaican, she's Indian, she's Irish, she's an AKA, she went to HBCU. And this is what people are cheering about. People are just happy about perception more than reality. The Congress is still divided, so it's obvious nothing major will be able to get done. But people are still acting like change is happening in their favor. It's brainwashing.
We are feeling excited, overwhelmed. We finally we can sleep tonight in peace without going to sleep with a headache. We woke up with the sun is shining. It's all good now. It's all good.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I've been waiting for this day since 2016.
People being moved and steered by their emotions. And who is steering these emotions? Yeah, the media. People are straight up tools, and it's very hard to deal with. When I see people making posts about the election saying, praise God, it took all of my self-control to not go on their post and say, we clearly do not serve the same God. I'm watching all these Christian pastors really leading their congregations and followers to the slaughter because they are tied up with this world. I do not like calling people out, but when I see pastors, entertainers, leaders, etc., that say that they are believers in the word of Elohim and having belief in Yahshua the Messiah, Jesus Christ, it is highly provoking to me.
In the great battles of our time, the battle to control the virus, the battle to build prosperity, the battle to secure your family's health care, the battle to achieve racial justice and root out systemic racism in this country. Come on, Joe! The battle to save our planet by getting climate.
When you have so-called leaders of the church telling the masses to conform to this system and believe that these leaders will bring in the change the world needs, we have truly reached a low point of society. We have church leaders that do not depend on the word, but depend on the world. And it is up to you to guard your mind from all of these people. Unfollow them and do not let them steer you. Listen, do not take a side in this election. For me, who has a very clear understanding of where everything is going based on biblical prophecy, at times I have seen myself get drawn into these feelings that they are creating. I drove into the city on the night Biden made his victory speech, and when I saw the liberals cheering, waving their flags, without masks, mind you, I was feeling provoked. My children were feeling provoked. So I know that there are many people feeling the same thing. Do not attach yourself to a side. Do not try to fight for whatever future you are thinking must exist here. If you want to fight, fight it spiritually. Fight it through fasting and prayer. We need corporate prayer, collectively, together. Lead prayer groups in your family and in your circles. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. That's Ephesians chapter 6, verses 12 and 13, and it's extremely telling. You may look at all this and see a physical battle that you need to engage with, but the real battle of this is not physical, it's spiritual. You cannot fight a spiritual battle in the physical, and that's what we are seeing today. We are seeing a massive amount of demonic spiritual energy being engaged on a fallen world ready to be taken into the tribulation. And all these church leaders and pastors and whoever that proclaim the gospel that are leading people into this madness, allowing these spirits to take over, leading their congregations into being led by false demonic spirits, it's a little too much to bear sometimes. That's why if you see people promoting this, stop following them. You do not want to be a part of any of this. That's why I encourage so many of my family and friends not to vote. People think that they are going to vote away their problems, when in actuality, all they are doing is tying themselves to the system. And that's why the mind control was so strong in this year's election. They say the turnout in this year's election was like any other. The devil wanted everyone engaged and a part of his deceptive agenda. And that's why believers must stand apart. We must stand out and be set apart. People voting for Biden because they believe that they are voting away racism.
LGBTQ rights, Black Lives Matter.
People voting for Trump because they believe they are voting away liberal issues. We have all these people giving themselves more power over this world than they are giving our Father. This is deception from Satan, and you do not want to be a part of it. You cannot vote away evil. This is something that can only get fixed from within. This is something that can only be changed through prayer and fasting, through spiritual warfare. So attaching yourself to this agenda in any way is dangerous, and I highly advise against it. Tell our Father you trust in Him more than you trust in this world and its leaders. I've been trying to give this message to some of my family and friends, but though they say they listen to these messages, they still say that they believe that it was their duty to vote and to be a part of this system. I mean, if you understand that this world is run by Satan, that it is double-minded to believe that your vote in his satanic system did anything good for you. More and more I see evidence of the scripture, James chapter 1 verse 8, where it says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Because I see people that say they believe in Yahshua and submit to him, but yet believe in the satanic system as well. You can't do both. The satanic system was created to produce rebellion against the Most High. So every time I see people engaging with it and following it, it really frustrates and provokes me. So this is why I had to retreat from everyone, because I know this is the devil trying to wear down the saints. He's literally looking at us, laughing at us like, ha ha, there's nothing you can do for these people. I got them. Ha 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 ha. He's trying to provoke me through my flesh. And my flesh does want to come out when I know it's actually my spirit that needs to be engaged and fight more in the spiritual realm. And this is exactly what the devil is counting on us forgetting. Do not forget this. Now, I've got enough track. Let me bring this back to the reason for this video. Listen, until Trump concedes and agrees to leave the White House, we are in a contested election. The claim is that he is fighting it with the courts, and though the media isn't giving it much airtime right now, until we actually know what their agenda is and what will transpire with what he's saying to do, and how he will be removed from the White House, there is not a reason to let your mind become less alert and less aware. The media wants everyone to now put their guards down and move on, and there is still a huge potential for disruption. That's what Trump was put in office for disruption.
Well, Rob, as of today, President Trump has not conceded. His supporters are vowing to continue making their voices heard, and his campaign is forging ahead with lawsuits challenging ballot counting in several states.
As pro-Trump Stop the Steal rallies continued in some cities today,
we're not going away. We will continue to fight.
President Trump not holding any official briefing since Saturday's projected call of the presidential election. But the president active on Twitter today, announcing the firing of Secretary of Defense Mark Esper and naming Christopher Miller as the new acting secretary. Just hours later, addressing the election and calling out states by name, writing, quote, Nevada is turning out to be a pool of fake votes. Matt Schlapp and Adam Laxalt are finding things that, when released, will be absolutely shocking. This tweet was flagged by Twitter. Then writing, quote, Wisconsin is looking very good. Needs a little time statutorily. Will happen soon. And, quote, Pennsylvania prevented us from watching much of the ballot count. Unthinkable and illegal in this country. This tweet was also flagged. But focusing on Pennsylvania, the state that pushed Joe Biden past the 270 electoral vote margin. RNC advisors today held a press briefing to discuss post-election litigation.
This election is not over. Far from it. We have only begun the process of obtaining an accurate, honest vote count.
Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, who told reporters she was appearing as a private citizen and advisor to the campaign, said the campaign wants an honest, accurate, lawful count of ballots.
We want maximum sunlight. We want maximum transparency. We want every legal vote to be counted, and we want every illegal vote to be discarded. Unlike our opponents, we have nothing to hide.
Pennsylvania is one of several states where the campaign has filed legal challenges. A number of them have been dismissed. Earlier today, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who just won re-election in Kentucky, supported President Trump's right to contest the election results.
And President Trump is 100% within his rights to look into allegations of irregularities and weigh his legal options.
Senator McConnell also calling out what he called, quote, wealthy media corporations.
The projections and commentary of the press do not get veto power over the legal rights of any citizen, including the President of the United States.
Do not allow them to make your mind go back to sleep and stop watching. I mean, just as I'm making this, they moved on with another part of their agenda and says that the company Pfizer has now had success with their vaccine. I think it's funny because this is what Trump was saying was going to happen.
to follow up with you and your comments. You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing Regeneron. You also said a vaccine will be coming within weeks.
Yes.
Is that a guarantee?
No, it's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are two companies, I think, within a matter of weeks, and it will be distributed very quickly.
Can you tell us which companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well. And we have numerous others. Then we also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries, in particular Europe.
Let me follow up with you, because this is new information. You have said a vaccine is coming soon, within weeks now. Your own officials say it could take well into 2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get vaccinated. And even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate.
He said that they were very close, and the media said he was lying, and it would take until next year. And now, right after Biden makes his victory speech, the very next business day, they come out with this news, and the Dow opened up 1,500 points, and the S&P hit an all-time high. They literally brought in a new distraction for the masses to get wrapped up on, so everyone can move on from the election until they are ready to do whatever else they are planning. So what do I have to say about it all? Not much right now. All I can do is watch and wait. What are my expectations? I expect civil war in the United States. I spoke about this earlier in my Civil War video. But I do expect massive protests and chaos in the divided states of America. Joe Biden will not unify this country. There are massive differences within this country that cannot be worked out. The country is divided, and chaos will happen. A massive fire will bring everything to ashes, so that the New World Order, the Phoenix, can rise from the ashes. And the match that will set it all on fire is very carefully being held by the media, who controls the thoughts and minds of this world. Nothing has changed. We are still in massive debt that if Biden really is placed in charge, we know for certain he will clearly be driving up even further. We still have brewing conflicts with China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea that was brewing during the Obama administration when Joe Biden was vice president. Why do we think that this is changing? We still have an economic slowdown around the world. We still have this agenda of the coronavirus that has not been dealt with. Nothing has changed, and the only thing that is happening is that people are mentally voting for their chains. How do you drive out systemic racism? You do this by suppressing free speech and all opposing ideas that are contrary to the world's accepted beliefs. You create thought police. How do they plan on stopping the coronavirus? By locking down our freedoms, creating mandates, and tracking a complete population right in the open. How do you create new jobs and opportunities? By adopting socialist ideals that has the government as the main provider for the population. The people have just voted for their chains. All these people that are now literally talking about being able to dream are literally voting for their dreams to be canceled. The irony is sickening, and the only way to do this to a population is by reducing their ability to think for themselves, and their critical thinking skills must be reduced. You must have a dumbed down population. And that's what we see today. I'm very sorry to hear about his death, but I feel like the passing of Alex Trebek is just an indication that a generation of knowledge is lost from our population. He even said, the more you know, the easier it will be to understand everything else that's going on in the world. If you have limited knowledge, then you're approaching other people from a limited point of view, and that can be disastrous, as we have discovered. And that's exactly what we have. People with limited knowledge approaching the world with a limited point of view, and that is extremely disastrous for us. With the same people that I'm talking about that I have to retreat from. Most of them, when I even ask them what's going on in the world, did you see this? They always tell me no. They're not even paying attention to the news. But yet these are the same people that feel that they're voting and they know what they're doing. It's absolutely ridiculous. The effects of the Matrix are really getting stronger and easier to see. And I have made this video for all believers who understand Bible prophecy, who understand that this is a spiritual war and not a physical one, for all that rely on our Father in heaven to bring the lasting change to this world. I have made this video to ask you to go to our Father in prayer and be separate from this world. I know you probably hear a lot of passion in my voice, and maybe this video is different than my other ones. Please pray for me. This world is really crazy. It's steering everyone off of a cliff. The devil is trying to wear us out. We are being provoked. And if we stay attached to their agenda, we will be dragged down in the same fate as everyone else that is not relying on our Father. Being holy means what? Being set apart. How can you be set apart when you're attaching yourself to this world and its agenda? What does our Father tell us in His Word? What has He said to us? And what agreement has the temple of Elohim with idols? For you are the temple of the living Elohim. As Elohim has said, I will dwell in them and walk among them. I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says Yahweh. Do not touch what is unclean, and I will receive you. I will be a father to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, says Yahweh Almighty. That's 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 16 through 18. This land of mystery Babylon is a dwelling place of idolatry, a house of idols that spreads rebellion against the Most High. How can we be in agreement with the Most High if we allow Babylon's idolatrous ways to dwell within us? We must be separate. You must be separate. I had to get all of this off my chest because it was a little too much to bear for me. I have so much to say on this, but I do not want to ramble. Elohim willing, I hope to have a video on Friday. This world is sprinting towards wickedness, and we as believers cannot be attached to it. If the events that are happening right now are bothering you, I understand it. They bother me too. But it's not our fight. The only way we can help is being united with Spirit, praying steadfastly and being led by His Spirit, staying in complete submission to Him and not being found amongst the wicked. If your family and friends are under mind-controlled spells of this wicked world, do not argue with them. Pray for them. They know where you stand, and you know where they stand. Stand out amongst them and do not fight the battle in the way that they want. Be a believer and stand firm on our Father's word. We know where things are heading, and we know that our peace will only come from our Father's kingdom. There will be more tribulation ahead. You think this is bad? Wait till the false Messiah comes on the scene and the world accepts this Antichrist with all the blasphemy that will be attached to it. The days are just getting darker in preparation for it. We cannot fight against this in the physical. Riots, protests, anything like that has nothing to do with our cause. Don't be of this world. Be united in faith. Continue steadfastly in prayer and keep your eyes on Yahshua, because the kingdom of heaven is truly at hand. Be ready for it. Be blessed. Okay. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. If this has blessed you, please don't forget to like this and share it with others. If you have not done so already, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Elohim willing, I upload every Friday. Don't forget to follow this ministry on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on my website, truthunedited.com. As always, I really would like to thank all those who support this ministry. You know who you are. Your contributions truly make a difference for this ministry, and I'm thankful for the support that you provide. Thank you for following the call Yah has placed on your heart. Okay, thanks again, everyone, for watching. I love you all.